You've tuned into The Mountain Gardener with your host, Ken Lain. Gardening, it can be challenging, but with these simple insider tips, you'll reap huge rewards. Now, let's tune into today's Mountain Gardener with Ken and Lisa. And welcome to this week's edition of The Mountain Gardener. Your host, Ken Lain, here every week, talking about the landscapes of Northern Arizona. And Happy New Year, everyone. This is going to be exciting. We've got a lot going on. In fact, I was kind of worried. Spring is on us here at the Garden Center. Of course, we're always a season ahead, at least here in Prescott. So the season kicks off in full force, kind of mid to late February. Sometimes it ignites, and then March, it just crescendos into this crazy planting time. The customer count quadruples, the number of plants tenfold. And so we're trying to gear up for that. It's just days away, a few weeks, and we're here. So it's kind of exciting. New structures are going up, new shade structure. We're going to build a few shade areas just to make it more pleasant to shop and make it better for the plants, healthier. It's all about keeping the plants healthy. And so it was hot last summer and it was hard to water plants twice a day. Well, this will take the edge off. And so it's be really good. This week's garden column, so it comes out every week. I read a garden column. That's kind of the outline for a lot of what we do. So we break that out and put it through our social media, our YouTube channels, all the newspapers pick up the weekly column. And then, of course, if you're part of the garden club, you get first dibs on all of it and all the embedded links that help you to go see more and find more. Whereas the newspapers, they took all that stuff out. They don't want all that extra stuff. And that's what people are. We're in the digital world, not just print anymore. Help us out. And so I emailed out to customers. And so they've got my desktop to yours right there. And so this week it was on healthier houseplants in 6 steps or less. Between now and really the end of March, you've got a window here of a few weeks where it is time to make your houseplants healthier. This is a time to take a look at them and go, they need to be transplanted. And so houseplants, because they're so limited in their space, once they bump up against the pots, they quickly, within a year or two, they'll outgrow their space and they start to show it. And so they'll get thin and wispy, they get leggy, they stop blooming for some of those blooming plants. And so the roots will start growing out the bottom of the pot. They get difficult to water. You can just tell they aren't the same as they used to be. Those are all indications that I need to be transplanted. With containers, and the time to do that is late winter, early spring. This is when you do before the spring growth starts to grow on them. So right now the days are short. So after winter solstice through about spring, so spring is the 21st of March. So that's kind of your window, your best time to transplant things and take a look. Plus, you gardeners, you need something to do inside anyway, right? It's kind of chilly outside. So transplant your pots. Some experience I've found. If the plant is too big to transplant, some of these big trees, we were at a friend's house, they had a Dracaena or corn plant. It had to be 2 stories high. That's this magnificent house overlooking the golf course. This thing is growing from the floor to the ceiling. It's like a big vaulted, gigantic, beautiful home. And this thing is kind of outgrown its space. They almost time for a new one. Didn't say that. But sometimes you just have to kind of reset. But for them, because it was so big, sometimes if you can't manhandle this or woman handle this, you just take out that top layer of soil. So harvest maybe 2-3 inches of the dirt on top of that pot. You're fully expecting to keep it in this pot, but you're going to add some freshness. So you'll break a few roots. We call that root pruning. That's good. You're going to take some of the old spent soil out of there because plants do use up the vitality of the soil. You're going to add some fresh potting soil. Soils are confusing. So you walk up to the wall of the box stores soils, you're dumbfounded. Oh my gosh. We sell 4 varieties here. One, we make our own potting soil. It's organic. It's got all the stuff you need. Peat moss, perlite. It's got an organic fertilizer in it. It's a recipe. We've created this recipe over the decades, and this is the best one for growing houseplants. or seedlings or cuttings or in your containers, raised beds. It's made for that. So potting soil is made for potting things directly into it. You've got topsoil, which is basically compost with a lot of sand. Because sometimes on these ridge lines, it's so windy, the mulch just kind of blows away. This adds some weight to it. This is for filling in holes, that kind of stuff. Right now, we're using a lot of manure. So we deodorize our manure. That's the third variety. So potting soil, topsoil, manure, and then mulch. Mulch is, that's the number one seller. Whenever you're planting a new plant, you need to add some compost. Those are the four things. It doesn't get any more confusing. They've got a topsoil, a potting soil for raised beds. Well, it's topsoil. They've got houseplant potting soil for small plants, for big plants. No, it's all the same. They're just rebranding, making it confusing. They're just marketing, packaging. Really, it comes down to those four things you need. Potting soil is the number one for houseplants. And so we make our own. I would encourage you to use that one. It's for this elevation. It's made to keep moist, but in a dry climate. It's like a razor's edge on how to do that. But sometimes you just top dress a large container. You can't move it otherwise. Just add some freshness to the soil. For smaller pots, they're going to prefer a next size up. Now, don't go too crazy. Don't go from a 6-inch to a 10-inch. That's like triple the size, literally, of soil volume. The plant will focus all of its energy on filling up the space with roots. Again, these are tropical plants. They're used to rainforest and competing for a little bit of space with all this jungle effect. And so they're going to go, second they get any room, they go, I'm all in, let's fill up. It's before someone else comes in here. And so they're thinking that way. So help them to not feel that way. Don't give them that much space. Things like bromeliads, they never need to be repotted, really. Sometimes they put on pups or side shoots, little children. So you just keep the main mother plant there and just take those little side pups off and repot those. But don't transplant the entire, but most plants, pothos and philodendrons and dracaenas and all these other normal houseplants that you're used to, they like to be transplanted. When they bump up against that wall and start to crowd themselves out. So you take the next size up. So a 6-inch would go to a 8-inch pot. An 8-inch pot would go to a 10-inch. Just the next size up. Don't go too crazy. And then I do find, this is personal experience, ceramic, clay pots, houseplants prefer growing in those than plastic pots. It's breathability. It allows them just to take in the moisture in the air. And so ceramic is better. Get something stylish because you're going to be living with this for years inside your house. Something that looks pretty. It's worth paying an extra $5 and getting something you just love, because some of these containers are like pieces of art, and that you'll appreciate it, especially if it's on a desk or on a plant stand where you see it. Kind of spending a couple extra dollars for a really pretty pot, because generally they're smaller. They're not that expensive. So anyway, that's kind of where you're at. And then when you're transplanting, take your new pot, take your old plant, pull it out of the container. Try not to yank it from the stem, because that's hard on plants. Try to nurse it, pull it aside, try to nurse it out with your fingers, roots and all. And then that old matted root, anything that looks broken or rotting or brown, take those things off and try to loosen up the side roots a little bit. It's okay to don't brutalize the roots, just loosen them up. Put them in your new pot and then backfill with some potting soil. Again, potting soil is a secret with houseplants. Try not to, here's a rookie mistake. Do not bury the crown or the stem where the stem meets the soil. Don't let soil touch that. Keep that at ground level or even a little bit above. They don't like soil right against their stems, where you'll get some stem rot. There's some things that happen. And then water it until water comes out, seeps out the bottom of that drainage hole. You do need drainage holes. So houseplants don't like sitting in soggy water. They want to be able to breathe. That's why ceramic is better than plastic. So a drainage hole at the bottom it's a secret. and then water it until water comes out or seeps out the bottom of that. And you've got yourself a repotted plant that'll be good for really several more years to come. So we've got lots of specialty pots, orchid pots, African violet pots. If you need more help with that, we can even help you transplant it. Come visit us here at Watters Garden Center. Be right back after this. Not everyone can grow wildflowers, but we'll make sure you're not one of them.
At Watters, we know which wildflowers sprout, thrive, and bloom with success.
We're wild about wildflowers with many of our own Arizona blends.
Like our Arizona native mix, butterfly and hummingbird mixes, and all are big, bold, and beautiful.
At Watters, we know wildflowers, and winter's a season to spread new seed.
Watters Garden Center, where people who love their flowers wild, they love to shop for seed.
And we're back with Lisa Watters Lain in the studio. She comes each week with your garden questions. Just what are people talking about as we enter the new season of gardening? So things are happening out there. I was doing some cleanup and the plants are growing.
Are they?
Lilacs, the buds are huge.
Buds are swelling. Yeah.
Our autumn sage salvias, they were actually still had some flowers. They looked a little rough. They were off color, but they had flowers. It's like they're going, any last hummingbirds, if you need some help, I'm here for you.
It's been warm. It's been a warm, kind of dry winter so far.
Yeah. So what kind of garden questions we got this week?
Well, okay. First one is from Linda. Excuse me. I keep finding a pile of dirt around my peach tree. I think it might be a gopher. Are they active this time of year? And what's the best way to get rid of him?
Yeah, so gophers, so pocket gophers. Now, for you folks from the East Coast, Midwest, we don't have moles here. We have groundhogs and we have pocket gophers. Pocket gophers, the reason I call them pocket gophers, because they got a little flap of skin underneath their chin where they dig dirt. They use it kind of as a satchel. They kind of put it in the skin. They throw it this pocket and they take it up to a hole and they shove the dirt out so they can excavate their tunnel network. They are underground rats. They eat the roots of your plants, your worms, everything that is good in the garden. They destroy. So you don't want them in your garden. So that, and they'll actually do a lot of damage during the winter when it's a warm winter.
Right.
And it's been warm. So the ground is not frozen, even at the higher peaks, maybe just for a moment, and then it thaws during the day. So they're up and they're active. As it gets really cold, hopefully we'll see some cold. They'll burrow down deeper and kind of hibernate down deeper than that 3, 4, 5. I've actually seen gopher holes 6 feet down in the ground so they can hibernate where it's warmer. And so they're taking advantage of your gardens and the sunshine, and you've got something there for them to eat. Grubs, worms, roots, something's there. And they love their favorite thing in the world, fruit trees. They love fruit trees because it's got sweet wood. So they're eating that roots. So what to do? There's 3 ways to deal with them. There's gas. There's a little flare you throw down their hole. Where that mound is, you take your dandelion weeder, that long handled with the fork kind of screwdriver looking thing, poke around there, you'll feel a soft spot underneath that mound. And you can dig out or excavate or open up that hole, and you can shove this flare down there, and then it basically suffocates them. It just fills up the network. Now, if it's really bad, the networks, it's hard to fill up the whole network with gas. So it's kind of so effective. I found that if you're going to try a gopher bomb, we've got them at the garden center, find several mounds, open them all up, and shove all the flares all at once underneath this thing, and that seems to go after them. So just one and done is not quite as good. The other one, what your grandparents used, this is a trap. It's a wire trap. So you open it up. Again, you open up that hole. That's where they're throwing out kind of dirt. Open that up and shove this, set the wire trap, set it down there as far as you can. And then when they come up next time, they'll kind of get trapped and get pinned, and it takes them out pretty quick. Not always. It's kind of a gruesome way to go after gophers. It's not for you. You Marines, you'll love it. It's great. Those with a softer heart can be brutal because it doesn't always kill them instantly. It's brutal. So I'd say tie your trap onto a 2x4 is what I do, and a piece of wire, so they don't drag the trap down into the tunnel and you lose it. Or I found more cases where the dogs and the coyotes find them. Oh, free meal! And they drag them off. They take them up to the barn. Barn cats will do that. They'll take them out in the field. They just disappear. In fact, I tie them to a board and I spray paint the board like orange, red, so I can find them. It's just kind of school of hard knocks. What generally folks will do, there's a poison. So you, again, open up the hole as best you can. That's a dandelion weeder. That is the best gopher tool ever because it's got the little fork on the end. It's kind of maybe a foot long. It allows you to excavate or open up that tunnel network. And then you'll take a teaspoon of poison, go as far back as you can, and then dump it back in there. And then the gopher will come up and go, oh, a free meal. Oh, look, they're thinking a squirrel or a mouse or something is storing seed down in their holes and going, oh, free meal, I'll take this. Well, they digest it and it slowly makes them feel sick. So they go back to bed and then you never see them again. So they just they disappear. So that's kind of how you deal with it. There's three ways. Again, gas, traps, or bait. Bait, be careful. I'm still finding strychnine out there in the marketplace. This stuff is super deadly. It's dangerous to look at, much less touch. It has a multiple kill rate. So if your cat eats the gopher who eat the cat, it'll keep killing down the line. You want to use, my friends tuned into here, we want to use zinc-based poison. So it's a seed. They've dipped it in some zinc. A little bit of zinc is good for you, but a lot of it makes you not so good. And so there's no secondary kill with that. It's much, much safer. I've heard of falcons, birds of prey, eating a poisoned gopher with strychnine and taking them out. It's just super stupid, dangerous. I can't believe they've not outlawed this out in the marketplace.
That's odd.
But it's the old school. It's the way they used to do it. Probably 15, 20 years ago, we sold strychnine. Second they came out with zinc, I went, okay, this is out of here. Right. I don't want to handle that stuff. So anyway, we can help you out. Come see us. That's more explanation than you need. We'll come help you with more.
Yeah.
Next.
Okay. Next question is from Ryan. He is planting a tree he used for a living Christmas tree. Yeah. He says it has burlap and twine all around the roots. Okay, yeah. Do I remove all the burlap? How do I plant this thing?
Good question, actually. So a quick question on big trees, many times really large trees, they got to be in the ground for 10. We've got some that are 12, 15 years old. So they're in the ground forever. We're not going to plant those in a pot and grow them that long in a container. We're going to put them in the ground and grow them like corn in a field. And so then when we harvest those, we dig that root ball out. Throughout the years, we'll root prune it. So you get a fibrous root mass, or good growers will do that. But when we finally harvest out that plant, let's say it's 6-foot spruce or 8-foot, we've got some beautiful pine trees, junipers, whatever. We'll dig that ball out. We'll make a ball out of the root, proportionate to the upper growth, and then we'll wrap it in burlap to keep it from falling apart. Then we'll take that and put that balled and burlapped tree into a grower's pot, mainly for shipping, just so we can handle it, so we can show it off here. We don't want you schlepping around in mud and muck and stuff with ball and burlap. We're going to try to keep it cleaner and easier, help you get it home, help you get it at the planting hole. We'll typically we'll harvest those and then root them out for a season, so they're even more rooted, or at least a good grower will do that. A patient grower will take the extra season, extra year to root that thing out. Now, going back to the question, well, what do I do with the burlap? Well, that's the reason for the burlap. The roots go right through it like it was nothing. And so don't try to take that burlap off. Get your planting hole ready. Lay down the trees sideways and get the bucket off. And then you'll see the burlap there. I would say just gently roll it into the hole, set it up straight, face it the way you want so it looks the best. And then the secret is the damaging part can be the twine at the top. So twine doesn't break down as fast. And we're using jute twine, but still it breaks down slower than the burlap fabric. And so sometimes if you get a tremendous amount of growth next spring, that extra set of wood it'll start to impede and choke that. So cut the twine at the top off lay the burlap back under soil level, and then backfill. That's how you do it. So a lot of folks want to make this a lot of work. They want to take the burlap off. It's just terrible it's higher risk. Reduce your risk, keep the burlap on, set it in there, lay it back, and cut the twine at the top off. In fact, if you've had some landscaping recently, you might walk your yard and make sure that twine is not still wrapped around that trunk area. Anyway, that's how you deal with again, we've got a planting guide. Come talk to us. We'll walk you right through it and show you some examples. We can help you.
Definitely.
Great questions this week. Good start of a new year. So Ken and Lisa Lain, the Mountain Gardeners, be right back after this. As the days get longer and brighter, houseplants can struggle and scorch, but we have the solution.
At Watters, we've organized our houseplants from A to Z for the brightest of sunny locations, many even bloom.
With experts that know plants and how to make them grow.
Shipments of the freshest houseplants in town have just arrived from A to Z and ready for a bright new home.
Watters Garden Center, where people who love bright green houseplants, they love to shop, found in Prescott. So every month, the Watters Garden Center team, we get together as a management team, and we put together or curate a list of companion plants appropriate for that month. They look their best in that month. So January, we've got our companion plants of January, and we try to get a big thing. So a tree, a couple of them, a shrub, some smaller shrubs. Sometimes we'll put a perennial in there, but basically these are the landscape plants you'd want in your yard, and they just shine. This is the time when they all look good together. So if you put them all in the front yard, they would just go, oh, those go together. They've got some style and some design sense. And so I thought I would share what this month we came up with. And it starts with the number one selling native plant. Is that right? It's close to it. I think it is, because it's a screening plant. It's big. It grows 25 feet tall, 12 feet wide. It's a native that grows throughout the region. It's called an Arizona cypress. This is a big evergreen. It kind of looks like a juniper, but it's not. It doesn't have the same pollen, that kind of stuff. Instead of a berry, it puts on little tiny pine cones, kind of cute. So Arizona cypress, the fastest growing of the really thick, screening windbreaks. We use it often. Loves crummy soil, takes our dryness. It loves growing here. A companion to that, it's a cousin of the ponderosa pine. This is a gigantic pine tree, but this is a little bit smaller. Austrian pine is the cousin in Europe of a ponderosa pine, only it's much more shapely. Same kind of long needle, same green, thick green needle to it. So Arizona cypress more blue. This is a green that kind of contrasts, thus companions. It gets up to about 35 feet tall and about 15 feet wide. Again, pine trees, central leader to it. The beauty with the Austrian over ponderosa is it holds its foliage right down to the ground. So it's much more shapely. Whereas ponderosas, basically their bottom branches are always dying out. They're always self-pruning themselves up. So eventually you just end up with a trunk in the yard that's up about 100 feet tall. You just don't even see the foliage. So Austrian pines, it's much more shapely. For a landscape, it looks much better. For smaller yards, much better choice than a ponderosa. A companion that goes with that is a Japanese yew. This is an evergreen conifer. Again, we've done 3 conifers in a row. So Arizona cypress is a conifer, an evergreen with the needles. Austrian pine is that way. And then Japanese yew is actually, a lot of folks think of that as a shrub, but it's actually a conifer. So there's 2 types. There's a real tall one. So yew it's called Hicks yew. It gets up a couple stories tall, but not very wide, so maybe 6 feet wide. And then there's spreading yew. So if you need more of a shrubby kind of thing around that back patio, you want something green, you want to be able to hedge it up and it kind of looks good together. Yews are more of a shade lover, so they'll take some sun, but in the peak of June, they don't want to be out there in the middle of the day. They want to be more protected. So on the east side of the house, the north side, this is where you use Japanese yews. If you want something just like that out in full blistering hot sun and just hot as can be, wind, just terrible soil, mint julep junipers. Again, it looks good together. Mint julep has this minty green to it, and it's not a pollen producer. So we bred that out of that plant. We only sell the female junipers, so they don't produce pollen like the males do. So this is a very good looking, very rich, healthy Kelly green to it. Gets up about head high, likes to be hedged, fast grower, great companion plant with this. A companion that looks really good right next to that, red clusterberry cotoneaster. Now, cotoneaster, there's a lot of varieties, but red clusterberry, this is the big one. It gets up easily 10 by 10 by 10. Gets red berries, has a kind of a really rich, deep, like hunter green color foliage to it. A bright flower in spring with this bright white flower, and each of the flowers turns into a red berry. Just kind of got all the seasons going for it. So it's really good. And it goes really well with all these other January companion plants with each other. And lastly, I'll leave it with the number one seller in the country by far, mainly in the East Coast, but it does really well here too. Boxwood. And again, boxwoods, this is a huge family of plants, but the one that really outshines the rest is winter gem boxwoods. It's a plant up about hip high. You could easily hedge them. So you could have that walkway going up to your front door. They look really good with boxwoods out there, out in a container, out by the pool. It's not trashy. It looks green all the time. It's shapely. It just outshines a lot of the other ones. So winter gem boxwoods. So again, the companions, there's 6 of them of January, going to be Arizona cypress, Austrian pine, yews or Japanese yews, mint julep, cotoneaster, red clusterberry cotoneaster, and winter gem boxwoods. And all can be planted now. You'll find them all at your garden center right now. But we got to go to a break. Be right back after this. Hi, Ken here with the finds of the week and our Deodar cedars.
A standalone tree so beautifully shaped it's referred to as the Christmas tree.
Fastest growing of the evergreen trees, used for quick screens, windbreaks, and privacy.
Graceful arches sweep through the landscape in colors of blue to green from the stately tree.
An evergreen lover's dream for fast, thick growth.
Watters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott. For people who love majestic evergreens, they love to shop.
And back in the studio, Lisa Watters Lain comes in each week and just shares her garden tips just from a different angle. I think there's value. You get 10 gardeners in a room. You're bound to get about 12 or 15 different opinions or ways to do things. And so I think there's value. That's part of the reason that gardening is so social. So it's a group effort. It's not something you do on your own. It's something you research. And at any age, no matter how much experience, you never stop learning gardening, which is what I love about it. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you.
So what do you got for us this week? What's going on in your garden?
Well, so we've had a very nice, pleasant winter so far. So we have some windows that face out front in our yard. And I was looking out the windows the other day, and there were just, I don't know, at least maybe dozen or more little finches, little birds out there in the front yard.
Sure.
And they were just as busy as could be and happy as could be. And then later that day, I was looking because we have a little fountain there.
Yeah.
So look over in the fountain, which is running because it's underground.
For the birds.
Keep it running through the winter. And there were some birds in there just kind of bathing in there.
Fun.
And it was just, I was thinking about, we always think about birds maybe in the summer. Everybody thinks of the hummingbirds and attracting them. But it is just so nice to have a yard where nature, where wildlife, where birds want to come in and hang out because they are fun to watch.
Yeah, especially in the winter when there's not a
Not
lot
else.
I mean, the plants are growing,
but
it's really painful to watch them grow so slow. Birds.
Yeah.
And the great thing too is there's 2 sets of birds out there. There's summer birds, like you mentioned, the hummingbirds. That's when the butterflies are out and things are going. And then there's your winter birds. They fly south. They like to spend time up, way up in Canada or higher elevations. They come down to here because this is their summer vacation spot or their winter home,
Right.
and they like it. So it's a whole different set or kinds of birds. So that's what's so exciting.
Plus, I think you just see them more because you got to, the leaves aren't on the trees and you're just seeing them out there more, being more active. So we have a lot of birds in our yard, but we never put out a bird feeder.
Think of how bad it would be if we did. There would be hundreds.
And not that it's bad. I mean, if people want to put out feeders, more power to you, not knocking that at all. But you can also attract birds in without, but we've never put up a hummingbird feeder. We've never put up a bird feeder, but we have a ton of birds in our yards because we've created a landscape that is friendly to them. So, birds want a few things. I mean, first of all, they want water. So you can't have a water source, even if it's a plastic saucer or put a bird bath out, but put a heater in it for the winter. You don't want it to freeze. But giving them a water source is hugely important. The second thing they want is food, and they also want cover. So cover is, you got to have some tall trees in your yard. You got to have some shrubs. You got to have some ground cover, low growing things, because they want to feel safe in your yard. So if you've got nothing in your yard but a bird feeder hanging there, they're not going to feel very safe because they don't have that cover that they need. And there's some birds that, they spend a lot of time up in the treetops. They don't really go to the ground too much. And then you got those birds like quail that pretty much hang out on the ground, and they like that ground cover where they can retreat and hide if they need to. So those things are very important. So you can put a landscape in that gives them cover, but also gives them a food source. So there's a lot of plants we can put in that provide berries and wildflowers that give seeds and that kind of thing. So I thought I would kind of talk about those plants.
I like it. No, that's perfect. So we've got water in the backyard and the front yard. We've got a full-on pond in the back. And I noticed the bigger birds like it back there. They want to jump up on the rocks and go on the waterfalls and kind of be over here. Get kind of, they're towards evening. They're like hydrating before before the evening comes. The front yard is more of it's a tall piece of granite, polished. Water's bubbling up the top. It's not as aggressive.
Right.
And the smaller birds, and the robins, I'd say not all small birds, but the smaller birds in general like the front one. Not that they won't go in the back, but they just would prefer the front one. And we've adjusted them so they run during the day. Right. So they don't freeze. So everything's running during the day when the birds are out. So it's like 11 to 4, we're running the water features, the pond, the fountains for the birds.
We've had a crane in the back pond.
Blue heron. We've seen eagles flying over. Ducks have been in the back.
That's true. We had a ducks a couple years ago.
It's crazy.
It's kind of fun. The doves go out there and use a lot. So the back one, you're right. It's definitely the big birds. The front one, especially in the summer, the hummingbirds love to hang out.
They just will grab onto the fountain and just kind of hang there with the water going over and just kind of take a rest and take a sip. And it's kind of weird to watch, but it's fun interesting. To watch.
So in your yards, if you're looking for tall canopy trees, some that do really well here, your maples, your pines, your spruce, aspen, sycamore, all of those are going to do really well in your yard. Beautiful trees, but they give you that tall canopy plant that's
where they're going to roost too. They're going to be up there. The hummingbirds, we see them all the time in the mimosas, maples. They're up there roosting. You see little tiny nests in there. So
and our big juniper too. We have big native juniper back there.
I love that big thick. They like the thickness,
right?
And you'll see an entire flock of birds in this one tree going crazy. Oh my gosh, it's such a party. We're all here. It's so exciting.
So definitely need those tall plants in your yard. You also need some medium canopy plants. Ones that I thought of are barberry, caryopsis, butterfly bush, things that actually produce a berry. So cotoneaster, pyracantha, lilac, just things that they're can get into to kind of hide. And if you can give them a food source at the same time, it's even better.
Pyracantha.
I said pyracantha.
Oh, you did. Sorry, I missed it. I was trying to help you think of others. We got 2 acres of garden centers. There's nothing but plants that are medium sized. We can help you with that. I have to say
my favorite class of plants for this would be your cotoneasters, because there's some tall ones that get about 6 foot. gray leaf gets about 4 foot. There's some low growing ground cover ones.
Yeah.
So they kind of, and they're animal resistant as far as deer and bunnies and that kind of thing. But they also give a really nice berry, which is really pretty. So those are good. Oregon gray polly.
Oh, good
Would
choice.
be
That's a
another one
native,
I thought
sure,
of.
natural one.
Yeah. Sand cherry, serviceberry, sumacs, another good one. So if you've got native scrub oak, I think I would kind of
Oh, yeah.
put in there too,
I
because
would.
that's a great native, doesn't take anything really to take care of it.
Yeah.
And the birds love it. So you don't have to clear everything off your property. You can leave some of that native stuff in there and make the birds happy as well. Then your low growing plants. So we have Salvia gregii, we have Gaillardia, Dianthus,
Russian sage.
Russian sage
Yeah.
is another really good
The dwarf lilacs, so
Ooh.
the repeat blooming bloomerangs,
Mhm.
got those yuccas. There's a bunch.
Oh, there is. And so even in the summertime, you can do a lot of annuals,
Oh,
your
sure.
zinnias, things like that the
They
birds
would
love to
love
come
that.
in. So in like this time of year, so back at your office, you had a bunch of wildflowers growing, but we cut them down, but we left kind of the seed there.
Yeah.
So that gives the birds something to eat. Your grasses are excellent
yeah.
for those winter birds because they're eating the seed heads. So you can put a lot of things in to kind of naturally encourage those birds into your yard.
Did you notice in the backyard last week we had a pair? There's two roadrunners working the wildflowers back
Oh,
here. They must
really?
be eating, I don't know, seed or
Oh, wow.
grub, something. They're out there. Something's back there for them.
Oh,
They're
good.
loving it. They're just camped out. They're up on the fence. They're looking at the corral.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun to watch them tag team.
I didn't
Yeah.
see them. I'll
Yeah.
have to keep my eyes out for them.
Yeah.
But it is fun to watch all the little birds come in and kind of just make their home
Your home.
your home,
Make
their
your home their home. Yeah, that's right. It's pretty easy.
Right. So I think the main thing is, and I'll get in my soapbox again because it drives me bonkers. And I get it. People move here, they retire, they want more of a low maintenance yard. But if you have nothing but rock and a one tree in your yard,
And the boulder.
Gotta have the boulder. You're really not encouraging nature. You're not, and you're missing out because you're not encouraging that. You're missing one of the more beautiful things in life, which is watching nature.
We are surrounded. We're on the flight path. So we are on the migratory pattern. So Lisa, thank you. How to attract more birds. We've got this handout at the garden center. You want it. It's like 3 pages of just plant recommendations, what Lisa just summarized. Come in. It's free. Love to chat with you about how to do that. Getting more birds in your yard. Be right back with more after this.
My living room feels so empty.
Now that the Christmas tree is gone, the house just seems so blah.
Brighten it up with a big, bold, beautiful plant from Watters Garden Center.
Fill that cavernous space with tall tropicals, colossal cactus, and sizable succulents that bring the great outdoors indoors.
Make a gorgeous green space you can enjoy all year, not just for a season.
Unique, exclusive, one-of-a-kind houseplants found only at Watters Garden Center in Prescott. As promised, I've got a list of the best landscape shrubs you could put in the yard at any time of the year. So now this is the top 10 list. So I don't have them all at the garden center right now. I've got most of them, but some of these are seasonal rotations and they're starting to be shipped now. So we've got our first tree order starting to harvest. We'll have that here in a couple of weeks. So we're starting to fill up the garden center of spring this year. It takes a while. It takes hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of plants to pull that off. But this is just the shrubs. This is the ones that outshine the rest. The ones as you walk your neighborhood, you're going, whoa, I want one of those. And you got to start with number one. This is not really an order of popularity, just alphabetical. Barberry, B. Barberries, there's all kinds of varieties. There's yellows and reds, and there's tall ones and short ones. There's spreading ones. Barberries love the wind. They've got a flower to them. They're a pollinator. They got a lot going on for them. So they like the sun. They like the dryness. They just do really well here. And they're fun to play with because there's so many colors. Rose of Sharon. This is the hardy hibiscus. The only one that really grows up here. Well, I guess there's two. Machuto's hibiscus. It's a perennial variety. But if you want a shrub, something that gets up about head high with that classic hibiscus kind of flowers. It's not as big as the one that's maybe grows in Hawaii, but it makes up for a lot more varieties. You can have a lot of varieties. There's blue varieties of hibiscus, Rose of Sharon. There's pinks and whites and yellows and purples. You can have fun with them. They get about head high, that 6 foot wide. They're just a pretty plant. Summer bloomer. Bluebeard or Coreopterus shrub. This is the ultimate pollinator. If you want more butterflies, this is the one. Blue flowers. I think it blooms longer, better, stronger, less weedy than a Russian sage, which is a kind of a hip high blue, has the same kind of blue flower to it, but it's more ball shaped. It looks really good up in the front side of a Rose of Sharon, because that blue against the pinks and the whites really looks good. So Bluebeard shrub. Butterfly bush. They really do attract more butterflies. I mean, and they come in a lot of colors. In fact, we're introducing quite a few dwarfed varieties this year. So some new things you've never, even you hardcore gardeners, you've never seen this before. So we're starting to bring those in for our spring open house. I think is the Saturday before spring. Is that the 18th of March? So we'll have a big celebration. 63 years in business. We're gearing up for that. We've grown some specialty things that no one has ever seen before. They're finishing off right now, but butterfly bush, deer grass. Now grasses, we're in the prairies, especially folks out in Paulden, the Prescott Valleys, Chino Valleys, Dewey, Mayer, Humboldt, Cordes Junction. You've got all those beautiful grass prairies, and grasses do well throughout the region here. And a lot of them are native. So deer grass is a Miscanthus. It's a variety of wild grass. It's short. It's maybe knee high. It's got a real pretty pink hue to it. It's kind of nice. So it does well. Animals don't eat it. One of my favorite right now, in fact, they're blooming in the greenhouses. If you just need a break, you're a gardener, you're kind of, okay, I need to detox for January. The holidays were rough on me. I need to just get out in the fresh air, and I'm a gardener. I want to go see some plants. Come into the garden center and just take a look at the Ice Angel camellias. This is an evergreen shrub. Gets up about chest high or so. It's a shade lover, but it has this beautiful camellia flower. It's one of the only ones that's hardy at this elevation. All the other ones are tropical. So you folks from California, you love your camellias. Well, this one you can grow up here and it will survive our winters. This has got plenty of antifreeze in it where I've had hedges of camellias. They are striking, but they're a winter, very early spring bloomer. Great plant for here. Good. They go well with yews, hollies, that kind of stuff. One that's similar to that grows out in the sun, it's a native, is silverberry, gilded edge silverberry. That's the common name. So Ellie Agnes is the Latin name. So Ellie and Agnes, put those together. You've got Ellie Agnes or silverberry. This is a native plant. The native one is blue, kind of with a silver backdrop. So it's kind of has this wild look to it. Very fragrant flower in spring, but it grows up easily above as far as you can reach your hand up in the air, and that wide or wider. It's a big old evergreen. Native, get it up to size, put it on the drip system, fertilize it until you get up to size, and then never care for it again because it's a native. It just does really well here. So I think that's a far better choice for most landscapes, especially if you're out in that wildland interface. You've got antelope and deer and rabbits eating on your stuff. They're not going to eat on this. They know don't mess with barberry. Makes your throat all scratchy. I don't like that. I'm going to move on. They don't bother silverberry. Good native plant, good evergreen, good bloomer, good. And that you call it gilded edge because we've variegated it. So it's blue center like a native with a gold edge. It's quite striking, very pretty. I've got several in my own yards. Spireas, gold flame spirea, great little plant for you. This is a knee-high kind of plant. So spirea is kind of an old-fashioned plant. Your grandparents grew spireas, but the beauty is they bloom in the spring for a very long time. They're very drought hardy. Animals don't eat them. I mean, come on, that's like the trifecta. It just works. They'll take our wind. So it's all the spireas, but gold flame, I like the gold colors because they're so hard. It's hard to find a gold plant that won't scorch in the sun. But barberry and spirea, They're so robust, they'll easily do that. And now you can put that into that chocolate rock or in your yard. So it's the darker colored mocha rocks. It's kind of the thing this year. Next year it'll be pink or red or who knows what, white. But right now it's the dark colors. And so blue and dark green colors, they're hard to design with that. But the bright yellows, oh, it's quite striking. So gold flame spirea. Grow low sumac. Again, another native. This one grows not quite knee high, spreads out across the yard, good at holding hillsides down. But it's a true native. I mean, it's true. It's one of the first you saw a low growing plant back in autumn that was red and orange in color out in the forest. That was low growth sumac. You can grow that yourself. You can plant it and go, I want some more natives back here. And they're quite striking. So good plant. Lavender, herbs, rosemaries, all this thyme. I've got all these herbs. Herbs do wonderfully up here, but lavender specifically, knee-high, gray to blue foliage to it, has a purple flower. It's so fragrant, so pretty. And the only way you're going to kill lavender is if you overwater it. It wants to be dry. I mean, like bone dry half the time. Like forget to water. You're watering your roses, don't water the lavenders. You're watering your dahlias, don't water the lavender. And it will thrive for you. It's just a good plant for your Salvia gregii or autumn sage. This was probably a number one seller at the garden center, at least the last few years. It's a knee-high plant. And the reason is it blooms a long time, April through October, November. It's easy to maintain. You just kind of stays a little ball shape. You kind of you give it a haircut now through February. Just kind of quick trim, fertilize it, and it just blooms all the time. Hummingbirds love it. So we got a little red flower, but we're also introducing a new purple variety and a new apricot. So we're trying to introduce, and a new pink. We've got 3 new colors coming out this year. You'll find here at Watters that we'll be the only ones that have it because it's just a striking plant for here. Mock orange smells like oranges. You folks in the Midwest, you know what mock orange is. Head high plant. It's a companion with lilacs, which is also on the list. So a Machitos hibiscus. This is the perennial. It's a perennial, guys. It resets underground, comes back fresh up to about hip high, and it has the traditional hibiscus, like tropical size. It's bigger than your hand. It's really pretty. You folks from the South, they call it the Confederate rose. So that's another name, depending on where you're at. Now I'll leave you with Nandina or heavenly bamboo. This is a great plant for winter because it just looks good all the time. And there's your 17 or so shrubs of the Mountain West. Be right back with more after this. Not everyone can grow wildflowers, but we'll make sure you're not one of them.
At Watters, we know which wildflowers sprout, thrive, and bloom with success.
We're wild about wildflowers with many of our own Arizona blends.
Like our Arizona native mix, butterfly and hummingbird mixes, and all are big, bold, and beautiful.
At Watters, we know wildflowers, and winter's a season to spread new seed.
Watters Garden Center, where people who love their flowers wild, they love to shop for seed.
So there's one trait, one garden task I do in January. I start to prune all my fruit trees. I trim up my evergreens. I trim back my shrubs. I just slowly take back plants and make them healthier for next spring. I really focused on my grasses. So the grasses have all been cut back to the ground, about ankle high or so, except for pampas grass. That one you cut back to about in between ankle and knee high. Call it a foot off the ground. But everything else is right back real close. It's all brown. You don't want that new growth coming back, which will start in, 6-8 weeks. They'll start to flush new growth. You don't want that green growth going up through the old kind of brown last year's leaves. So I cut them back. Just took my lawnmower, hedgers, just whack them back. And then I'm cutting back trimming up some of my summer blooming shrubs, crepe myrtles, rose of Sharons. They've all been cut back. I've got to finish up by the street my Russian sage. It's up about just above hip high or so. It's way overgrown. And I'm sure after the next storm or two, they're going to start getting leggy, laying over. I want to cut them back. And what I'll do with that, I'll take them back to about knee high, just so I have fresh new growth. The best flowers come from the new growth. I'll hold off on roses. I'll wait till March. I don't want them to get damaged by some cold snap that happens at the end of January. So I'll let all those canes and all the foliage kind of protect that heart or the graft of a rose. I just found over the years, it just works best in mountain gardens. When I'm all done, especially those things that are stressed out, or you only get one push of growth and that's it, like conifers, pine trees, spruce, cypress, cedar, juniper, all these evergreeny kind of plants. You get one set of growth. That's it. So your ponderosa pines elongate, and then whatever you get, that's it. Pinyon pines, if they've been devastated by scale, I want to really get that to flush new growth come spring. Those plants, I'm strategically going to fertilize right now in January. It seems odd, especially folks from the Midwest where you're used to ground that's just frozen, but plants aren't frozen right now. They're actually growing. If you take a close look at like my peaches have gigantic flower buds on them. Your evergreens, the shade trees, they have very large buds on them. You want those as large as possible. So in March, when they start to elongate, they explode with new growth. You can have a brand new looking plant just by adding some food right now, an organic food. It can't be a synthetic. Synthetics will flush through the soil as though it would just flush through the soil. You'd be wasting money. But an organic food, it sits there and feeds all the mycorrhizals, all the other good stuff in the gardens. The plants pick that up because they can pick it up when it's cold out, and they will actually make larger flower buds, larger leaf buds. This is really important for your evergreens. It's really important for your spring blooming things, lilacs, forsythia, rhododendrons, azaleas, Lenten rose, things that are starting to show some big buds onto them. Increase that. You'll get better color, better growth. This is especially important for grasses because if they're heavy feeders, so you're going to cut them right back. They got to flush all new growth. Well, fertilize them. Gets bigger plumes on your grasses. It's a game changer, and it's a bit odd. It's something that we do here in this part of the Southwest, but you don't do in other parts of the country. Well, that's it for this show. We are back at it here at Watters Garden Center, and throughout the week, Lisa and I camp out here at Watters Garden Center.
Hi, Lisa with the plants of the week and our Austrian pine.
We have instantaneous trees just in and ready for planting.
This pine has the same long needles as our ponderosa pine without all the problems, and these trees are really big and bold.
This is the fastest growing of the pines, and lots of sizes to choose from.
Watters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott. For people who love big, bold pines, they love to shop.
For a more fruitful garden, increase success in the landscape that just feels better, then tune in daily to the Mountain Gardener podcast. Subscribe through your favorite podcast streamer or visit wattersgardencenter.com. Better yet, visit me directly right here at Watters Garden Center. Thanks for tuning in.